Hillary Clinton's campaign is conscious of her gender and the need for her to be tough so that men don't view her as insufficient to the task. And in the Obama campaign, the question was, how do we run as a campaign whose standard bearer happens to be black as opposed to a black standard bearer?
But I'll give the lie to that a little bit in this book. I mean, it's for example, the South Carolina primary is one aspect of the 2008 campaign that I'm going to focus on, because that was, it seems like ancient history, but back in 2007, the question, one of the looming questions regarding the Obama candidacy was, is he black enough? And that was the question.
Chris Rock's joke, I think at the time, was, what does that mean? Can he dunk?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But in the South Carolina, think back on that. But in the South Carolina primary, South Carolinian Democrats, most of whom were African American, had a real allegiance to the Clintons, and it was an ephemeral allegiance, as it turns out. I mean, they couldn't, in a focus group, answer the question, what are the Clintons done for you? But they felt that there was an empathy there, and Obama really had to prove himself. And it's a very fascinating, and I think largely untold story of how he did so, and what that staff did with in particular, the so-called barbershop and beauty salon program, where they went into all these African-American barbershops and beauty salons, because they believed that that's kind of where the rubber hit the road culturally for African-Americans in the South and perhaps beyond. And that's where they made their big push. And where they met the most resistance, finally, were among African-Americans who would say, okay, we get it now. This young man looks great. They'd see this DVD of Obama, and they'd feel great pride in him and all that. But then would come the worry that he would be assassinated. And this is something that, we hear kind of anecdotally, but let me tell you, it was a huge thing in South Carolina, so much so that Michelle Obama was deployed to give a speech in November of 2007 in Orangeburg, South Carolina, that implicitly took on the subject of fear of Obama being assassinated. I say implicitly because it was a subject of great angst to the Obama senior staff campaign, and there was huge pushback from Axelrod and Pluff and all the white senior staffers, basically.
They did not want her to give the speech.
They didn't want her to give that kind of speech. They said, that's just making news. The last thing we need, we've got a post-racial message here. The last thing we need is that message, that Uber message being stepped on.
But in fact, she didn't want him to run initially. Because of a series of concerns, but that was legitimately one of them.
That was legitimately one of them, and it was really one that particularly an older generation of African Americans felt, but Michelle came in and gave this really remarkable speech that took on those fears. But it's a real indicator of the racial sensitivity that the Obama campaign had. So the notion that this was just happened to be black campaign is really not accurate.
Not true.